Welcome to the Live Your Vision podcast. In this episode, we explore Austin's journey to achieving full-time status as a filmmaker and photographer, how your mental health influences your work, and his future ambitions as a filmmaker. I hope you enjoy this conversation I had with Austin Beery, and have an amazing day. Austin, how have you been doing the past week, just mentally?
Okay, well, it got warm, so doing pretty good this week.
Yeah, got warm.
But I mean, man, this winter's been pretty draining on my mental. I've dealt with anxiety my whole life, and this winter I really noticed it come out. I don't know if that's partly because COVID and all that, just like not being able to go do everything or hang out with a ton of people, and then just being inside all the time. I don't know, but this winter took a toll for sure. It makes me not want to stay here anymore.
Yeah, have you been able to like still go out a little bit and like hang with friends? Because we hung out like one night.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, no, that was a great night. That was Ryan's birthday, I think. Yeah. No, I've been able to hang out with people a little bit. The only thing is, with like sets and stuff for shooting, they've been getting really strict with COVID. So you're getting tested and you have to be, careful the week leading up to it to make sure you're not doing a whole lot because, if you test positive, you're missing out on that job. One, you might be ruining relationships with whoever you're working for because to them might be like thinking you were careless and that you weren't valuing the production. Yeah. Which is how I think about it. I might be going a little too deep in that, but so being able to be cautious of everything before those shoots has made me kind of not hang out with people as much, which is unfortunate because if you have a shoot every other week, you're getting tested for, and you can't really do too much, that's partially draining out my mental state too.
What do the shoots look like now compared to what they used to look like pre-COVID?
Well, mask. Everyone has masks. Yeah. No, but there's usually a person strictly there for COVID, who is, checking temperatures, making sure everyone has their mask on, making sure everyone's abiding by the rules. But yeah, it's just a little different. You're used to, it's a very collaborative thing, being on set, being able to talk to people, being able to, direct people and do all that. And now with COVID, it's just making that a little bit harder because, some people are comfortable with you being close to them and interacting with them. Other people are not so much, or a little more worried about it. So it's definitely affects, to me, I feel like the creative aspect of it. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a total different world now. And the shoots seem to be, now that you have to get tested and stuff, there's a lot more like pre-pro planning for them. To make sure everyone, gets their test, everyone's good to go, and then making sure you're not like going out and doing all that stuff and putting other people at risk. So,
do you still enjoy shooting?
Yes,
now? Even with everything, you still enjoy it?
Yeah, I still enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. Like before COVID, like there's more interaction. I think even just having a mask on takes away from. Like even this, if we had mask on right now, it just, I don't know, it wouldn't feel the same. It's being able to see someone's face and being able to interact with them really goes a long way. And not having that has just made it just a little weird. Yeah. I would say it's not bad, but it's not good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What originally got you started in like what you do now? Because what would you consider what you do now? Because you do some like photography, you do some like video stuff. But yeah, I'm just curious on like how that started for you.
I've been asked this a lot and I still don't have the best. It's weird. Grew up, my dad always had a camera around, was always messing around with photos. And I was into motocross and stuff like that when I was younger. So that was kind of around the time when the first GoPro came out. And that was like epic because it was affordable, and to have that like angle when you're, it was badass when you were young. It was really cool.
That point of view.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Right. So I'd probably stem it to riding motorcycles and, getting like the first GoPro and then stitching together, clips and stuff. But I really didn't get like fully dove into it until in high school. I had an art teacher who's been, he was the reason why I decided to step back from college and follow everything, because he recognized that there was something in me that I really wanted to do this, and if I was going to do it, I'd make it happen. So, I mean, I took a few AP art classes where I would do like, AP art class, I could pretty much choose whatever I wanted to do.
Okay.
So at the time, photography seemed like the most attainable thing as far as, being able to do it by myself and being able to go. I could go out and, shoot anything, where video, you can't really just, it's a little lame to just go in the city and shoot video.
Yeah.
Compared to photo, you can get cool photos, not video.
Yeah.
But, oh God, where was I?
So you're taking was it the AP art?
Yeah,
classes?
So like AP art classes where I did just worked on photo for a whole trimester. My art teacher would obviously give me like curriculum as far as like, this is what I want you to try to get, this is where I want you to go with it. And then, yeah, dude, I don't know. I just fell in love with it. And then, I mean, Instagram had a huge play. I'm not so much of a fan of that anymore, and we can talk about that later. But I always saw, the cool travel. I mean, everyone saw the travel videos people did, and everyone who had a camera wanted to do that. So yeah, I mean, it just stemmed from like Instagram and all that stuff. And then my art teacher, like I said, just really pushed me to keep it going. I mean, he was super creative in himself and had a lot of ideas, and got me in contact with a few people, and yeah, just kind of went from there.
Yeah, was it hard to make the decision to not go to college?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a hard decision, because we grew up in a time where you go to college, like everyone goes to college, everyone's parents want them to go to college. I shouldn't say everyone's parents, but majority of people do. But for me, I mean, I went for computer science. I liked computer science. There was nothing wrong. Like, I didn't hate going to school. I love learning. So it wasn't like I hate being here, I don't like this type of thing for me. But at the time, I was really starting to get into the video side of things in the film world, and was meeting these people, and ended up like not going to school much, because I had opportunities to be on some of these sets as like a production assistant, or be able to go shoot some stuff with some friends. And so I wasn't at school much. So I kind of took a step back at the end of my first year and said, I have to choose one, because if I keep going to school, I'm not going to be able to excel in the photo film world. And if I keep going to photo and film and doing all that stuff, I'm not going to excel in school. Mm-hmm. So I decided to choose a thing that was making me happy at the moment, and that was film and photography.
Okay. Were you right off the bat getting paid for like what you did for work? Did you just start doing it for free?
Yeah. I mean, I get paid for, I was doing senior photos. I mean, that's an easy, I mean, when you're in high school, it's an easy way to start making money as a photographer. So I was doing those, doing a little bit of stuff for a gym that I used to go to for lacrosse training. They have like a hockey and lacrosse training program. Doing a little bit of stuff for them, but yeah, I mean, not making enough money to justify like doing it forever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm trying to think like
how'd you take it full time, essentially? Because I mean, probably at that point you're just getting like smaller work, and just like gradually building up.
Yeah.
And actually like start charging. And then were you working like a part-time job at that time too?
Yeah. So I mean, in high school I worked at Kids Safari, which is like an after school. If anyone's from Bloomington, they'll know it's like an after school program that everyone went to when they were in elementary school. So I was working there because I mean, it was like a job in high school that was paying you like $15 an hour. So like you can't go wrong. You're working with kids all day. Good. It was pretty, I mean, it was pretty entertaining. Yeah. And then I was working at BMW, running cars. Oh. And during that time I was, trying to get on these higher level film sets and commercial sets, because I knew that's where I wanted to go. And to be able to get there, I'd have to start meeting people. So, I mean, I worked on a lot of sets as like a production assistant for these bigger commercial sets for free for, I mean, about a year, just doing that constantly. And just through that, meeting people, and then, grabbing coffee with them, talking to them, and then showing them like what I could do, helped like just get me in the door really well there. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of networking essentially for you to like be able to get in these higher level sets. Yep. And then that's maybe when they started, you were able to like charge more, and that allowed you to go more full time?
Yeah, so just getting in those sets. I mean, I had a mentor that I met through one of my friends who was he's a local director here in the cities, and he really, I don't know if he saw something in me or whatever, but he really pushed me and really, because he owns his own production company and was doing some smaller stuff at the time, just because, and he was doing the smaller stuff for me, really. He was taking on these smaller projects so I could shoot them and I could do this, and he was kind of training me up. So he kind of got me in the door on these bigger film sets, like whether he was directing a commercial, he'd have me on, whether I was being a production assistant. Basically, I'd take any job. Anything that needed to be help on the set, I would try to take and just learn every aspect of it. And then through him is when I kind of started making money, because he was helping me get on these sets, and then I was finally getting paid to be on the sets, and then I was doing work for his production company and shooting more, and just, yeah, I mean, it just kind of took off from there, because he really introduced me to everyone that I know now in this world really stems from him. Okay. So I really thank him for all that.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool that I helped you out.
Yeah.
How long from the point that you started doing what you do now full time was that time period? Like how long did it take you to become full time? Yeah, so in high school, like I said, like senior photos, I was doing it and making a little bit of money. Mm-hmm. So what was that? Probably junior year of high school. So I was 17 at the time, and then to go full time last year, 2020 was my first full year of freelance, and then 2019 was like half a year. Nice. About half a year. Okay. So through that, probably, yeah, I mean, it's really been a year and a half since I've been doing this like full time, relying on it solely. Yeah. And I mean, it like I said, it was quick. It was a quick kind of transition. I think I got really lucky with meeting the right people, because I don't take it for granted how quick I got involved in this industry and how long, because some people work several years just to be doing it full time. And it was very short. It was like, it was almost surreal. I was like, did it for a year and then was full time, which is, I'm very, very lucky for. Yeah. Well, you're good at what you do. Oh, thank you. So. Thank you. Yeah. So what is that, like maybe 4 years? Yeah, I'd say about 4 years, really like really spending a lot of time on it. Yeah. Really going at it. Yeah. Was it hard for you to be patient in like continuing to show up every day to do the work? Yeah. I mean, so I deal with a lot of anxiety and like depression, and you know, like we were just talking about, travel videos at that time are like super big, and like I'm very self-critical and I have a lot of self-doubt at certain points. So for some reason, I thought when I started getting into it that I was like, oh, I could make, like, it's gonna be easy to make this. Like, I just need to go to a cool place and do all this. Like, you don't need, like, it's not that hard. Like, that was my initial thought, and quickly realized that is not true. So I'd be like, you know, watching, and I still to this day will see stuff that I like, work that really inspires me, and I have a lot of self-doubt, and it really affects just the way I see it. And yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of times where, I mean, even in the past like year, during when COVID started, it was like, is this really like sustainable? Like, is this really going to be a long-term thing? Yeah. So I've definitely had those worries and struggles with it. Yeah. Where do you feel like that self-doubt and like self-criticism like stems from? I don't know. I mean, I've been around great people my whole life. I have a great family, and I haven't really had anything that's made me like, there's nothing I can point out that's been like, oh, that's why I feel this way, or that's why I do that stuff. I mean, I think it's just anxiety. I just have had anxiety ever since I was little, and I think that just comes into play in a lot of different aspects of my life. But yeah, I mean, I can't really point out why. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, like, for where you are now, like I would never like see that in you, I guess you could say, because like most freelancers, I mean, they may have to work like years and years to like achieve even like full time being able to do what you want to do. Oh, totally. Yeah. So that's crazy. Yeah, it's weird. That, I mean, like we were talking about earlier,
it's surreal to be where I am right now. And I'm not where I want to be at all. Like I want to be, shooting commercials and doing bigger things. But just as far as I've come right now, I mean, it'll come eventually, and that's my end goal. But yeah, I'm very fortunate with the people I've met, because for me, it's 100% networking. Like I don't think I would be anywhere if I didn't meet a certain few people.
Yeah.
So,
dude, agreed. Networking is amazing. Like even when you go to random places and you're like, there's no chance I can meet like this person here. You meet someone pretty cool there.
Well, and you can meet. It doesn't even have to be someone related to what you're doing when you meet them. You could meet someone totally random that has nothing, not even in the film industry or not even in the same industry you're in, and you start talking about it, and they might know someone and put you in contact with them, and that person might give you a ton of work or might help you level up. So it's like anyone you talk to, you never know what you could get from them.
That's so true.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really weird how that works out.
Yeah. Kind of looking into the future, where do you see yourself, or like your desires for the work that you want to be doing?
So I love, I'm trying to think of like the right term for the type of commercial, but there's a lot of like commercial work that I like that's very story driven versus, so it'd be like, say for example, like a Nike commercial is a LeBron commercial that I really like. It's like inner city Nike, and it's not about the product. It's like a story, and it's very like heartfelt and just like passionate. Like passion's my biggest thing. So like if someone has a passion for something, like that's what I want to shoot. Like just showing passion. And this makes no sense what I'm saying right now.
You want to be able to like tell a story, and when you're done watching it, you want to be able to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
You want to like be able to pull individuals' emotions when they watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just being able to even if it's individuals, like I think like as people are very interesting, and someone who's passionate, let's say about like motorcycles or whatever, and like just showing that aspect of them, to me is really cool. It's kind of like docu style, not documentary necessarily, but like mini docs involved in like commercials and stuff, would be really cool. And that's what I like. I like learning from people and their stories. And that's why I want to shoot that stuff. And that's why it's very easy for me to shoot that versus like, oh, here's a water bottle, go shoot the water bottle. That to me is not as interesting and as fulfilling.
Would you say that's currently a lot of the work you're doing now is very story driven, or is that still like a point that you want to achieve in the future? Like based off your work diversity. Yeah.
I mean, I've been trying to get more than I'm trying to write like a few spec pieces, and the spec piece is just like free. Like I'm going to go it's a portfolio piece. So like find someone, go shoot them. And it's, it's not paid. It's not for a certain product. It's just a show. Like there's like a portfolio piece. I'm not really doing a ton of it right now. I would like to, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it and the right way to do it. Cause as you just heard, I can't explain it very well. So I'm trying to like find a better way to explain it and figure out, like exactly what I want to do, and have like a bank of, reference, like, inspiration of videos and commercials that I can look at, come up with my own ideas. But right now, I mean, I'm mainly just kind of hopping around with a few production companies, and then some of like Devin and stuff, and shooting with them. So I'm doing a lot more shooting with other people, or like shooting for other people versus shooting for my own company, because I hate client outreach. That's like not my thing. So I like getting work from other people and then shooting. Like, for example, like my mentor, like we'll have a client, and then so he'll get the client and then I'll shoot it. Like that's what I want to be, is just someone who shoots and doesn't have to do client outreach and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you really want to tell stories through your videos. What's a story that you have yet to tell and create through video that you want to?
Oh, this is hard. Like a story I want to create. So I'm fascinated by like the true American, just like grit, just like down dirty stuff. So like shooting some motorcycles today, and like from shooting like a group of Harley riders would be like old school bikes, in like the desert, like super old school like that, and just telling like a really cool story with like showing the passion they have for their bikes and how, because I mean, if you're a motorcycle rider, there's a huge passion you have for it and like respect for the motorcycle. And so like that's kind of like one thing I really want to shoot. It's just motorcycles because I think they're really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. So you really want to shoot stuff that really just hints at America in like the good old days in a way?
I mean, yeah, some stuff, not all of it, but just kind of like showing that just like true American, like down dirty grit, like with the bikers. I just think there's a lot of character in that. It's like anything with a lot of character and that like you don't even have to like deliberately tell the story for people to be like, people to understand, like for people to get emotional, like to feel emotion from just like looking at a still frame, even if it's just a photo, just showing that character that these people have and showing what they've been through. I mean, it could be anyone, like it doesn't have to be anything in specific. It could just be someone that has a really cool story.
What's been something that has moved you creatively?
Moved me creatively. I don't know. That's a hard one.
Yeah. There's a video that Adobe put out. Maybe it was last year, and it was like a commercial YouTube ad that I saw, and it incorporates the song from Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory.
Oh.
Did I show you that one at all?
I don't think you did.
Okay. We'll watch after this. But I thought that the story that it told using all of Adobe's products, which is a lot, was really cool. And it just went all over the place within its application. It's really trippy. But that just like moved me in a way that just to like see things differently, and that there's so many possibilities that you haven't even like thought of yet that are still open to creation.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many possibilities out there. It's like, I mean, like you said with the Adobe, there's infinite possibility just with Adobe apps, and never ending, and you'll never be able to learn them all. But yeah, there is this constant, there's never not going to be something that's cool to be creative with. There'll always be an idea out there. There'll always be something to do. It'll never just like be boring.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't make it boring, or you could fall in like the trap of doing the same thing over and over again. But that's part of the reason why I like the film world, because it is always changing. There's always different things happening. There's always different projects. There's always different type of projects. So it never really, for me, seems to get old.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good, because if you become like too stagnant in like what you're doing, then it can just get boring.
Oh yeah, I mean, really easily. You don't want to do it.
Yeah,
really easily it can get boring. I mean, there's always a few projects that you're working on that are, you know, not really creatively pushing you. You know, just more basic, like let's say like interview stuff or whatever. And I mean, you're on day 4 of editing that footage, and it's not fun anymore, and you're kind of like, this isn't great. I need something else. So, I mean, there is those projects that happens with, but I think for the most part, if you try to find the right things and push yourself to find the right things, you're never going to be bored. And I mean, and that's in any industry. Yeah. Whether you push yourself to figure out how to not make it boring.
For sure. If you were to look back on your journey thus far as becoming a like full-time freelancer, what advice would you give to your younger self throughout that journey?
To just keep pushing, as generic as it sounds, because I mean, there was times where I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. I thought it was just like a hobby. I mean, I had a lot of friends who just thought it was a hobby. It didn't seem like it was a sustainable way to live life. And I mean, like some family, I mean, I have a great family, but you know, a little more traditional and like go to school and all that. So like me talking about doing this full time is kind of like, you know, there's no way you can do that full time. Like you have to be the best of the best. Otherwise you're not going to make money. So I had that pushed into me a lot as I grew in this industry. So there was a lot of times where I was like, yeah, you're right. Like I should just go to school. It's safe. It's safe. I'll get a degree, get a job that I'll make good money at. But in the end, it's just, I would tell myself to just shut out the noise. Stop. Don't listen to other people. Do what you think is right, because in the end, it's going to turn into the best case scenario.
Yeah. Did you receive any criticism for like your choice?
Yeah, I mean, like in high school, like I've still, like to this day, like people I haven't talked to since like high school, they're like, oh, you still like, mess around with photos? Like, is it not really like get it? So I mean, I think a lot of people. You
receive those messages?
Oh yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think like there's a lot of people that kind of looked at it as, because as you know, there's a ton of photographers out there. There's a lot of people who do it, and there's not a ton of people who do it full time, because it is a very challenging industry and it's very competitive. So they just, I think, kind of categorize me with, he just takes photos for fun. He gets paid sometimes or does a few projects here and there. Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely been categorized in that before.
Yeah. Interesting.
And I just learned I'm not the best at podcasts. Yeah, I feel like I'm all over the place.
No, you've done good. You've done good. Like, there's some instances where I've done podcasts, and it's always the worst if someone is repeating the same word over and over again.
Yeah.
And I'll do it sometimes, and guests will do it sometimes. And I've been trying to get better at not repeating words over and over again. But dude, overall, you've been doing great.
My problem is you ask me a question, and then like 2 sentences in, my brain forgot exactly what your question was. So I'm like, okay, how do I end this? Where do I?
Yeah. Dang.
But yeah, what were you? You had said something earlier. I'm trying to think of what it was. Oh, we were talking about social media.
Oh yes, yeah. You wanted to bring up Instagram again.
Yeah. So you want to hear my take on that?
Yes, I want to hear it.
I think it's a great tool. It's not for me. I think like as we talked about earlier, like self-doubt for me, Instagram gives me that. I haven't been able to use it as a motivating or inspiring tool. For me, there's been times where I'll see something and be inspired by it, but a lot of time it's just like this jealousy, and it's stupid. I know it's not, like, I know it's dumb for me to think like, oh, I'll be all sad because like I want to make that, I want to do that, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, social media for me, my Instagram, I post every now and then, and which kind of sucks because I get in this like thing thinking, oh, it's not like my Instagram doesn't really show my work. It doesn't really show the level I'm at. I feel like, and so I'm like, oh, I need to post more. I need to do this, and then I'm like, why? Like, I don't know. Like, I get it. Like,
yeah, for sure.
People reach out. You can gain work from it, but for me, it's like it's just too much of like a nuisance for me to really spend time using the app, right? Posting, doing stories, and all that. It's like a second job, and it hasn't brought me anything. It hasn't really brought me like any type of joy. Yeah. It's just only like kind of negatives and a lot of wasted time.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. No, I feel that for sure. Like I just try to spend more time and thought to it, more in like a business mindset versus like trying to just post on like your personal page. Yeah. Like I've even gone to the habit for a while to post on Instagram and then not check it, like just go off the app. Yeah. But then I'm like, oh, I should probably like go back on there. If anyone commented, like comment back. No,
seriously, nice. That's what it is. And then likes and all that stuff. It's very like, it likes and stuff. It's just, I think the idea of a like, I don't know. For me, it's like I would be seeing how much likes I have and comparing it, and like I just not healthy.
No. Wait, would you say you got caught up in that?
Definitely, because the photo industry in our generation and the film industry, it is very heavily on social media. I think Instagram is like, it's one of the biggest platforms right now for showing work. And it's hard to justify not being on it, but then I got to step back and be like, well, what's best for me? Because I might miss a few opportunities. I might miss meeting a few people. But if I'm going to be mentally healthy and be better off personally and internally, yeah, I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people do you follow on Instagram?
Like 1,400.
1,400.
Yeah. Oh, my ratio sucks. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
gotta work on that.
Yeah, we'll clean it out. We'll just unfollow everyone after this, and then
the funny thing is, I probably follow so many people that I don't even know or care about. And that's another thing. Like, I mean, it's probably a good idea to go through that and really follow the right people that, you know, either inspire me and like close friends, and just kind of keep it to that. Because then I'm shutting out a lot of the other stuff that is causing me, or it isn't causing me anything. It's just kind of, it's there. And if anything, it's just distracting from what the app should be used for.
Yeah. A lot of like subconscious conditioning to like everything you're seeing. Like you may think that you're not intaking it, but you are. Yeah.
I mean, you definitely are. And we grew up, I'm thankful our generation, we had a time like middle school, we didn't have, I mean, Instagram was like just becoming a thing. So I'm very thankful that we at least had like several years of our life where we weren't all sucked in on social media. Because I mean, elementary school kids have Instagram and Snapchat now. Like, I'm just trying to think of like what that would be like when we were there. Yeah. Like when we were in elementary school and middle school. So I'm very thankful we had a time in our life where we can kind of compare to what it was like before and after. And so we know what it's like to be without a phone. We know what it's like to be without Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and all that. But yeah, I kind of wish it would go back to that.
Just go back to nothing.
Yeah,
just
go back to nothing. I mean,
yeah, that's the best. Is just meeting people in person versus like over Instagram and social media and stuff, because it's just a way better relationship off the bat at that point. Like versus trying to establish and keep a relationship over just like social media and just like social platforms. Because there was I recently watched a YouTube clip where there was a bunch of different individuals on Clubhouse. Yeah. Are you on Clubhouse?
No, I'm not on Clubhouse, but I know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were all on Clubhouse, and they're all like, there's like some of the Weinstein brothers and like Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon were on there. And I just watched it because they all hopped on there. And I think it was maybe with the creator of the Clubhouse app. Yep. And they were just tossing around a lot of benefits to the app, but also a lot of like downsides to an app like that, because it's essentially like a no video Zoom. Yep. And just listening to that was really interesting to hear both of their perspectives, everyone's on that Clubhouse, just what they thought of like the app and the direction of like where this app is taking just like human interactions. Because I mean, with lockdown and everything, like you don't have to go outside, you don't have to talk to anyone.
And that's a problem. And I mean, that really affects people, whether I think it does or not. I mean, even just wearing a mask, and I'm totally for masks, I have nothing wrong with them, but even wearing a mask and not seeing someone's face, I mean, I think that's huge. I think that takes away a lot of personal like interaction, because I mean, you're covering like everything that gives off emotion, or a lot like most of what gives off emotion. So yeah, I mean, I think lockdown has affected, I mean, it clearly has affected people's mental abilities and social stuff. Because I mean, imagine being in like high school right now, like early high school, like, I mean, not being able to like see friends all the time, and I mean, not going to school and like being around people, like, I mean, that's got to take a huge effect. And high school is like one of those times where a lot of people struggle a lot with mental health and everything that goes along with it. Yeah. So it's strange. Hopefully we get back to normal here sometime soon.
Yeah. What do you do currently then to just remain in communication and in like relationship with people? Yeah. Do you just hit them up, just communicate with them over like text or phone call them mainly?
I mean, I have a few really solid friends that I kept super close after high school. I've kind of a huge like I just kind of have several very close friends. That's something I did after high school, was kind of just got rid of, I don't know, stopped talking to a lot of people that weren't really benefiting me or didn't really care for my, like my well-being as much. So I had a very small group of friends that I'm really close with. So I'm able to hang out with them and feel comfortable. And I mean, not going out to parties necessarily, because being careful with COVID, but so I still hang out with them, talk to them, and keep in contact with them. And then I'm being on sets and stuff. I'm still with people and having that interaction. So I don't think it has affected me as much as other people because I'm still able to talk to people. I mean, in a safe way. It's not the exact same, but I do miss being able to just like on a whim, just go grab a drink with someone or go get food with, someone, like networking too. Because now it's weird right now. People don't, want to go necessarily grab a cup of coffee with someone they haven't met before because COVID and all that. And there's just all these other things where, I mean.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I was in Mexico for 2 weeks a little while ago, and like it's way different world down there.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Did you have to get tested before you came back in the States?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to get tested. But yeah, way different world. Like just being down there, just everyone was more happier, just better energy.
In the interaction
down
too,
there.
like just be able to just talk to people and not feel weird about it. Like, I mean, it looked like you guys were having a blast. I was quite jealous.
It was fun. Was working there too.
Working in paradise is better than working in the desolate wasteland we live in here.
It was different coming back, but there was a lot of people from the UK that I met over there, and they were coming to Mexico because it was like the only country that was really open right now. And that was just interesting to see that a lot of them were just coming to Mexico because they're shut down like completely over in the UK.
Oh yeah,
and so they had to travel to a few countries. Like I don't even know if the UK is offering a direct flight to Mexico. But
probably not. But so a lot of UK people.
Yeah,
because I've heard they're pretty locked down. So is it weird? Because I've traveled a lot during COVID for filming and stuff, and I mean it felt pretty normal. Yeah, it doesn't feel that weird. But I haven't gone to another country, so I was like going to another country. Was that a different?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a headache. I think Mexico is maybe the most open compared to the other countries that you'd go and visit. I mean, you did have to take a test before you went back in the States, 3 days before you did. And then you also had to go through a little bit of a procedure to confirm that you took the test when you go to the airport. Yeah. Because you could potentially, I didn't do this, but there was just other stories, conspiracies that I was hearing that people would go and buy tests, fake tests, and bring them to the airport. There's no way.
You'd have to stay for what is it?
Like 14 days.
14 days. They still do the 2 weeks, and like I mean, as great as that sounds, probably not the best option.
You'd have to find a place to stay for 14 days.
Yeah.
It would be nice.
Where were you? Where were you at? Were you Cozumel?
I was in Tulum.
Oh, okay, for some reason I thought Devin said Cozumel.
Okay,
but that's an island, so I probably. But I was quite jealous because you were gone when it was super cold here. Right? It was
perfect timing.
Yeah, you left right before it got.
and then come back and it's already starting to get spring in Minneapolis.
You got back just a few days ago, right?
Yeah.
Because did you stay longer than Devin?
Yeah. I stayed about 2 weeks in total.
Okay. Yeah, because I saw Devin came back, but you were still there, so. Yeah, and I want to start traveling. I mean, me and my brother were going to do a backpacking trip through Europe. Before we had planned it out in 2019 winter, gonna do it summer of 2020, and we had everything planned. Like we were gonna Budapest, Germany, make it all the way to Switzerland. We had everything like we want to do. We were gonna stay in hostels for a lot of it, and then right when we were like, all right, let's do this. Like let's get tickets, let's go. COVID hit. And it sucks because it was a perfect time where my brother was just switching jobs, so he was able to take off a month if he wanted to. He was able to take off the time, so we were going to do it for like three weeks. So now trying to find that time as he started a new job and me working, it's like I don't know if this will ever happen again or that time will happen. So I'm bummed about that.
Yeah, you definitely should though.
Oh, yeah.
I hope so. I
want to stay in hostels, and I want to I want to live like locals. I don't want to just stay in hotels. I want to try to meet people and like, stay with them or do that type of stuff. Because my uncle, when he was my age, I mean, he lived in like Tahoe, Key West, Florida. Like he was a lifty in Tahoe and then met people who like lived in Key West. And they're like, oh yeah, you want to come live with us? And he just went and lived in Key West and surfed and did whatever and just like flew, like just went to random places and like followed different people around. And my God, if I go back, I would do that. I'd be like right out of college, right out of high school.
Have you stayed in a hostel before?
I've stayed in one, and it was in near Point Reyes, so like right outside of San Francisco.
Okay.
On a beach, super cool. I mean, it was a really cool experience being able to. I mean, it was weird for me, like, because I've never done it before. So you like walk into the room and there's several different beds. It's a different experience, not something that everyone's used to. And I wouldn't say I was like, oh, this is great right away. But then we were all sitting out by a fire at night, and just I was talking to all these people that I would have never talked to unless I was here, and it was just really cool. There was a ton of backpackers that were like just doing the whole United States, because there's I can't remember the name of the trail, but there's a trail that goes. Pacific Crest Trail, I believe. Okay. Goes from Mexico all the way up to Canada, just along the coast. So they were like doing that, and this was kind of on their way. Okay. So it was just really interesting to talk to those people and do that. Yeah.
Your hostels are great to meet people.
Yeah, and I like the community aspect. Like you clean your own stuff. Like I don't know. It's a different experience. It's not for everyone, but I would way rather stay in a hostel than a hotel for most trips. Yeah.
Like, just make sure you get a good hostel, because some of them some of them could be pretty bad. But
there's the American hostel. There's like a website that all these hostels are registered under in America.
Hostel World?
I don't know. It's an American like organization with all these hostels around the country, and they're all like, if it's in this organization, it's a good hostel. Like, I mean, it might not be the best rated, or it might not be the best hostel, but they're all like certified and like have to meet certain requirements. So you'll be safe at any of these ones. So
yeah, because I remember hearing just that the hostels in the U.S., they're like questionable. So that makes sense if they created like a website to certify them, because you don't want to get caught up like stuck at a bad hostel in the US.
And I mean, being out like where we were out of San Francisco, I mean, it was we were no cell service. I mean, we were out there, so like, I mean, you show up and it's very sketchy. I mean, it's not gonna be fun. But I mean, I think most of the people who are staying at hostels are. I mean, depending on what type of hostel you're at. If you're in a hostel in a city, you're probably gonna have a little bit of a different experience, just because you got people doing a ton of different things. But most of the ones that are like out more in the country and out in the wilderness are more going to be, in my experience with this one, was just everyone was hikers, backpackers, people who were just traveling, like road trip in the United States. But yeah, overall, super cool experience, and would like to do it in a foreign country, in a place I've never been before. So
yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
What do you do besides like in your time that you're not working?
So I've been trying to get better at that, because I feel like all I do is, it's not a bad thing, but I feel like all I do is surround myself with everything work related. I might not be like actually doing work, but I'm doing something that's related to it. So I've been trying to get better at hobbies. I play the guitar and do all that. So over COVID was a nice time to be able to spend a lot of time doing that. Summers going up to the cabins more, riding dirt bikes, and just doing anything outdoors I'm a big fan of. So I do a lot of hiking, backpacking. Me and my brother are pretty into it, mountain biking.
Okay. But where do you go in Minnesota?
For mountain biking, or just kind of
just
backpacking?
Hiking.
Yeah, hiking. I mean, the North Shore is great. My mom lives in Phoenix, so we have some big plans this year to do some stuff out there in like Flagstaff in the mountains and Superstition. It's a lot cooler there. Minnesota's beautiful, don't get me wrong. Like the North Shore is it's great camping and great hiking. But Phoenix is
Arizona.
Arizona's best. Arizona's best.
Interesting.
And I wish I was there right now. Well, not right now. It's nice here, but I was talking to my mom and it was like 85 there the other day. I was like, God, that sounds so nice. Sitting outside in the morning, like I can't wait till we can do that.
That's true.
Because I'd always do that, to just go outside and like eat lunch or whatever, have coffee in the morning, like outside, and it was like just the best start to the day.
It's a different experience.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is good that we don't have that every day, because then we don't take it for granted when it is.
Yeah, I mean, you could eat outside right now if you wanted to.
You could today. Today I do outside.
Yeah, today.
Yeah, because we're those Minnesotans where it's 40 degrees and we're gonna be in shorts. Like I was wearing shorts for a little bit today.
You were?
Yeah, I had to go. I ran to the grocery store and I had shorts on. So nice. I was one of those guys.
Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah.
The most of the work that you do you have to travel for it, or is it in Minnesota?
A lot of the work, like the bigger stuff that I work for or do with like a production company, where I'm most of the time with the production company I work with, I'm assistant camera. So that means I work with the DP, who's the director of photography, and I'm kind of his man. You know, I build out the camera, I get everything ready, and I pull focus. So these cameras, once you get to like this higher cinema level, they don't have autofocus. So you have this little motor that like goes on the side of the focus ring, and then I have a little like focus wheel that I pull focus with, and I have a monitor. So I spent a lot of time doing that, and so those types of jobs when I'm an AC. There's a lot more traveling involved. Okay. For a lot more of my like individual work, and some of the other work I do, it's more local for sure. I mean, there's been a few, but yeah, a lot more travel once you work with like the bigger companies, because their clients could be all different places, and you have easier opportunities with budgets and stuff to go to different places and shoot in really cool areas, where a lot of like my clients is it's just not budgets to travel to California or anywhere.
Yeah. So. Okay. What would you say like the percentage ratio is of like travel to like Minnesota work? I
mean, COVID, as weird as it sounds, I've like I was went to like I think 5 different states during COVID. Like that, most of my work was travel work during COVID as an assistant camera. Yeah. And yeah, it was weird. Like that was probably the most I've ever traveled in a year, and it was during the pandemic. Yeah. But we had, I mean, everything, protocols, like we had to be tested and all that and be safe. But yeah, it was overall actually a really good year, surprising with everything that happened. I'm very fortunate it turned out that way, because at the beginning of the year, I did not think it was going to go that way. I was like, oh, and that was another time where I questioned if this was the right job industry to be in, because when something like the pandemic happened, it shuts down. I mean, I can work from home when I'm editing, but I can't like film from home. Like, you need to be interacting with other people for these projects. So when the pandemic hit, I was like, oh man, I think I'm gonna go back to school and be a computer scientist. I was like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know this. I don't know if this is the right move. But no, things started picking up in March, and
that's good.
It was an insanely busy summer. I mean, I felt like I was barely home in the summer. So can't complain. Yeah. Very, very fortunate.
Looking at maybe like the next 5 years, would like regarding business and life, where would you like to be at?
I would like to get a few bigger commercial stuff under my belt as for me shooting it, because like I just said, I do a lot of assistant camera stuff, which is a very important role, and it's a great role and I love it. But at heart I want to be a shooter. I want to be a director of photography. So in the next couple of years, or the next year, I'd like to be able to shoot a few commercial bigger budget commercial work, where I have a lot more freedom and a lot more creative freedom to be able to create something that I can look back at and be like, wow, like I've really I want to make something that I never thought I would be able to. Like if looking back 3 years ago, I want to make something that 3 years ago I thought was never attainable. So that's kind of my goal, is to keep pushing myself into that higher level of work, bigger budgets, working with bigger crews, and yeah, ultimately just really honing in my skills and polishing them.
Yeah, what's one like personal goal you would say you have within maybe the next few years?
Yeah. Personal goal. I mean, I've like I said, I've been dealing with anxiety a lot my whole life. I've gotten a lot better at it. I know it's Ryan just started that podcast, Panic Podcast. So me and Ryan have talked about it a lot. We've both dealt with panic attacks. And we don't know why we dealt with panic attacks. It's super random. If you have panic attacks, you probably don't know what's causing it. They're the worst. But I finally got good at that, but I still have a lot of anxiety as far as like self-doubt and self-criticism and just kind of like this, just like depression and thinking too much. So I'd like to work on kind of shutting that out. Because I think anxiety can be a good thing. I think there's certain aspects where it does help me and makes me rethink and think harder about certain things, but not to the point where it's affecting how you're affecting your actual life and how you're doing things. So the next year I'd really like to focus on just trying to get that to really calm down, get that to really be in a place where I just feel like it's not something I think about every day, because it is something I think about every day, and I want it to just kind of be on like a back burner and calm it down. So that's probably my biggest personal goal. And then, I mean, just getting better at doing the things I like as far as hobby-wise, because, I mean, I love what I do work-wise, but I don't want it to become... I don't want to get so focused on it and so driven into it that I get burnt out and get bored. And... so I want to be able to try to separate work from personal, because right now I don't do that. I feel like there's just this big mess that's just together. So I want to work on kind of separating those two, kind of having them be their own entities. So I can like shut one off at one time if I need to do something. And then, but yeah, I think that's probably my biggest goal, is just kind of working on separating, getting my anxiety to turn off. Yeah. When I want to be in control of it, because I don't feel like I'm always in control of it. And then be able to just separate work and personal and just kind of keep them. I don't think it's bad for them to be together certain times, but I think there's a lot of times where my personal life suffers because I don't know how to not work, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
Do you find yourself, when you're not working, like I remember one time when I was sleeping, I had a nightmare that I got a bunch of like pages, because I also do like digital marketing, e-commerce work. Yeah. I remember waking up one morning or one night, and I had like a nightmare that I created so many pages that I just didn't even know what to, where, what pages were the right pages, and I created so many that they're just lost.
The nightmares of an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And I woke up and I was like stressed. And I was like, well, I mean, that's maybe, I mean, that shows that you like what you do, and you obviously like working a lot at it, but
yeah,
it's also like a little warning sign that draining. You're like,
yeah,
should probably like take some time to just because at night, I mean, it's not the best to go from working to sleeping.
No, I do that
night.
Every night. It's not good.
So I've just been trying to kind of incorporate basically like a cool down before I go to bed.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I've been trying to read a lot. Been getting into reading. Yeah. I've always been into reading, but I'm trying to use it now as like a tool to like the cool down. It's a great word for that. But yeah, like I mean, even just like there's days where I'm just like, I don't really have a lot of work to do. There's nothing that's, pushing and needs to get done today. So I'm just like, I'm not going to work. And I feel so guilty. I feel guilty about it. Like, why can't I just sit in bed all day? Like, there's nothing wrong with doing that every once in a while. It's not the worst thing. Or just being able to, go hang out with friends and not have to worry. Like I want a day where I don't touch my computer. And like, that just doesn't happen. There's always something, because then I'm like, it'll come, I'll wake up early. I'll still wake up early and I'll still, start my morning off right. But then around like noon, I'm like, God, I haven't done anything today. Like, I'm so lazy. This is I just wasted half a day. But did you waste half a day? No, it's probably nice because you were being able to relax and being able to just like do a personal thing. Yeah. So that's where that separation, that's where I want to have that separation.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, like that feeling of guilt that's something that
It's the worst.
that's like the biggest struggle with doing that. And obviously, you know, you don't want to be super lazy.
And it's not
like with
bad
your
to
work
have
too,
it.
either.
It's like finding the right.
Like finding the fine line between like a little flexibility and stuff. Because I mean, you can get caught up in too much consistency. Like that's something that I can just get caught up in, and of trying to be mindful of just trying to change things up, like travel, go and work at different places, eat different things. Like, geez, I was eating like the same thing. Like I've ate the same thing for maybe like 1 to 2 years. Like try to keep it in the same.
You
same
chicken
bubble.
breast and brown rice guy?
No,
Oh.
no, it was a little better than that.
A little better than that, a little more flavor.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's a lot of added value to just changing up what you normally do, like day to day.
Yeah, totally. I mean, cooking. Like I've been getting into cooking a little bit, and just I like that you said working in different places. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. I love working at my like home because I built this nice office space in my basement. Like really just like decked it out how I want it. It's like exactly what I want. But man, it sucks like not having that. So I think that's where that separation. I don't have that because I work in the same place I sleep. Yeah. So I'm not able to like leave and go. You know, I'm not going home like where I can cool down, relax, focus on like a personal thing or whatever. I'm in the same area, so I can be in bed at like 12 o'clock and be like, oh, I'm gonna go work on that real quick, and it's just right downstairs. I don't have to be like, I'll take care of it tomorrow when I'm on my work like schedule. So yeah, so that sucks.
Yeah, so that's why the crazy work schedule then.
Oh, dude, I don't have a schedule. It's the weirdest. Like I need a schedule, but part of like some type of schedule, a little bit more, because right now it's just like. It's just a mess. It's just whatever. It's a rubber band ball. It's just what it looks like. It's just there. Yeah. But I mean, I don't want to be like I'm doing this at this time. I'm doing this at this time. Like I don't want to get that strict because I'll burn myself on that on so quick and fail at it so fast. Because part of the reason why I'm in this industry is because you have a lot of freedom with time, and just I don't want to work a 9 to 5. And that's part of the reason again why I went into this. So why I try to schedule myself like a 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can work 9 to 5, like the hours wise, but I just don't want to be on like this tight schedule of all this. I mean, obviously there's deadlines for projects and all that stuff, so you have to do that sometimes. But yeah.
Then, if you were to leave your last piece of advice right now, what would it be?
Whatever passion you may have, and just whatever's going on, just keep that passion burning and push yourself to make it happen, because if you want to make it happen, I mean, as generic as it is, anything is truly possible if you work hard at it and you push through all the noise and everyone is telling you it's not a good idea. So I mean, just if you have a passion, just let it burn inside of you and make something happen out of it. That'd be my biggest thing.
Just keep trucking.
Keep trucking. Keep moving forward. Just keep swimming.
Sweet. Austin, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You driving all the way up from Bloomington.
All the way up. It says it like it's an hour away.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, dude.
Of course, dude.